Some people are formerly some blah 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 blah, if I can talk. Okay.
To get you familiar with the docuseries first, I feel is the most important. That way, when you go into the next one, you kind of know more about it if you haven't seen the docuseries. And also, in order to post videos on YouTube and not get your entire channel demonetized, which would be very tragic for any creator on the internet, you have to adhere to YouTube's rules. And with that being said, I don't want to piss off the YouTube algorithm or anything like that. So I'm definitely going to be censoring some words in this video, but if you would like to watch the full uncensored version ad-free, definitely check out my members and Patreon content. There's a lot to go over, so we're just gonna go ahead and hop into it. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about, the things that stood out to me the most in this docuseries and things that just had my jaw on the floor while I was watching. I do know about this case, and I'm pretty well versed in everything that happened, what her mom did to her and how she was mistreated, and being a victim of Munchausen by proxy. Now, I also want to say I do believe she was also someone who suffered from Stockholm syndrome, because when you listen to the full story, it kind of is very clear that she is. So a lot of people who have been like, well, why didn't you leave? This, that, and the other. She was most likely suffering from Stockholm syndrome, which, you know, if you don't understand what it's like to have...
I actually agree with that. I very much agree with that. Because a normal person, look, a normal person is going to try to get out of there as fast as possible, right? A normal person. But unfortunately, Gypsy Rose is not normal. She was not put into a normal situation. She was not raised in a normal situation. Everything about her life, not normal. You know? So I 100% agree with that. She probably was suffering from Stockholm syndrome. I 100% agree with that.
Somebody mistreat you and abuse you and then stay with them anyway and not attempt to run away, then you may not understand someone and why their decisions would lead them to where hers did, and be very thankful for that. Let's all take a moment to be very thankful that we've never been in a situation
Amen, girl.
where we were a victim of someone by Munchausen by proxy, and that we have never had to suffer from Stockholm syndrome, and that we don't know what that's like at all. Like, it's a...
And I'm glad she's saying that, because some of the people that are trying to cancel Gypsy, that's their main thing. They are literally getting on her going, why didn't you get up and leave? And it's like what Kayla's saying. If you've never been in that situation, you don't know. You don't know what it's like to be a victim of Munchausen by proxy. You don't know what it's like to have Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, it's literally victim blaming. It really is. So I'm glad she's saying this. I really am. I'm very glad she's saying this. Good on you, girl. Good on you.
A good thing that we don't understand why Gypsy Rose made the decisions that she did. That means that we did not grow up in an environment like that. So let's take a moment to just be thankful for that. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, which when I watched this, I hadn't seen any of the news articles posting about this. I hadn't watched any videos where people were talking about this. And I found this to be so bizarre, and it kind of like threw me off a little bit, was when they were talking about her mom and the voodoo hex that she put on her and the weird, you know, voodoo-y portion of the docuseries. Gypsy Rose Blanchard tried to run away from her mom before. When she ran away, she was with this guy that she was dating at the time, and her mom ended up tracking her down and finding her, and when she found her, she manipulated her into coming back home. When she did, she chained her to a toddler bed in a shed and left her locked in there. After this whole situation...
Wait a minute. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know about the toddler bed in a shed. I didn't know about that part. I knew about chained to bed, but I didn't know about toddler bed in shed. Like the whole shed part, I didn't know about that part. Yeah, I knew about the tried running away. I know about her trying to run away. And I know about the mom getting her. But I didn't know about the whole shed thing.
Her mom was afraid that she was going to attempt to run away again, so she would chain her to the bed that they slept in together, and also had her tied to a dog leash. So Gypsy was tied to a dog leash to her mom in the bed with her, so that anytime she'd move, her mom would feel her move. But Gypsy Rose claims that her mom did this weird voodoo hex on her. She said she took a picture of her, of Gypsy, and she took a picture of the guy that she ran away with. she took a mason jar and a cow's tongue and then Gypsy Rose's menstrual blood, didn't go into details on how she got that, and that she put the cow's tongue and the blood in a jar, buried it in the yard with the pictures, and was basically like, you will never find love.
She printed out a picture of Dan, and she printed out a picture of me, and got a mason jar and a cow tongue. Put the cow tongue in the mason jar with the 2 pictures, a little bit of my menstrual blood, buried it in the backyard, and said that you will never find love.
This was such a...
Now, is it because... Okay, wait. All right, wait. We got to break this down. Hold on. Is it possible... Did the mother tell her she did that and she believed her mother? I mean, it's very possible that the mother could have told Gypsy that. Okay. Let's find out if that's what the mother told her. Because how would she have known that? Because she wasn't there.
A weird part of the docuseries for me, because everything that her mom did, of course, was absolutely awful, disgusting, and unheard of. It's so hard to comprehend somebody could do this to their own daughter, right? And I do sympathize greatly with Gypsy Rose on what she went through and anyone else going through anything even remotely similar. But the voodoo portion took this to a whole other place for me, personally. I was just like, okay, so now we don't just have a mom who is purposefully making her daughter sick and making her think she has cancer and forcing her to be in a wheelchair and medicating her with medication she doesn't need, forcing her to have surgeries that she doesn't need. But now she's also getting into her head in an even deeper way, right? Not just manipulating her and abusing her emotionally like this, but now she's telling her that I have superpowers and I'm able to put hexes on you, and that love that you want, you're never going to find it because
I mean, it could be possible that either the mother did it because... Well, I mean, they are from Louisiana, all right? But it could be that the mother just said that she did that to her and Gypsy believed her, or she actually did it to scare Gypsy Rose also. Or she did it because she actually believed it would work. I mean, there's like a million possibilities about this. I'm just saying. I'd never heard that one. Oh my God.
Just cursed you, and Gypsy still to this day believes that that's true. This was kind of a part that just got a little too weird for me, if I'm going to be honest with you. Not saying that it didn't happen. I don't know why anybody would claim something like that if it didn't happen, because it's just too weird. But there were also other family members that were in the documentary that said that this wouldn't be too far out of left field, that this sounded like something that she would probably do because she was into that type of thing. I just find that, like, the things that her...
Okay, wait a minute now. If she was into, like, the whole voodoo thing, then it actually makes sense that she did it. But to me, it's more like a scare tactic that she did that. You know what I mean? Like, letting Gypsy Rose know, you're always going to be with me. You are never leaving this situation. Ever. Like a scare tactic. That's what I think.
Her mom did, they're really disturbing, and as a mom I can't comprehend ever wanting to harm your child in any way, shape, or form, but to then make them feel as though that you have some sort of power over them and can perform some spell that will make it so that they'll never find anyone and that they're going to be with you forever. I don't know. What did you guys think about that? I thought that to be very strange. Now, something else I have been seeing on the internet, people have been talking about the portion where her grandpa was in the docuseries after Gypsy Rose.
Yes, Lord, let's talk about this. Yes, Lord, let's talk about this. Oh my God. Because when I heard that in the other video, I about hit the roof. Like, bro, if I'm telling you now, I have not watched this video, Kayla, you better be looking at that grandpa sideways for what he said. Girl.
Said that he allegedly her when she was a child and her. She said that he would take her out of her wheelchair and that he would take her into his shed and that he would her. I have seen people online saying that they think that she is lying about this. And I just want to say, I got no time for people like that.
Thank
because
you.
I'm going to always choose to believe someone when they say that something like this happened, because I cannot find one reason why anybody would ever lie about something like this. But if you didn't...
Okay, so this is where we kind of differ. I'm definitely listening to people, but I'm going to tell you what, when they went and talked to the grandpa and he turned around and said what he said, yeah, I believe her. I'm telling you now, I believe her. Because there is no reason why a grown man is saying, well, she was inappropriately touching me. She was 4, bro. What? A red flag. Ding, 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 ding. Red flag. I absolutely believe her on that. 100%.
Didn't watch the docuseries, let me explain something to you a little bit further. For those of you who didn't believe this, okay, even though I don't want to give you the time of day, let me explain something to you. So her grandpa was given a platform in this documentary that other people also had a problem with. But to be honest, I'm glad that they did, because what he chose to say,
I agree,
made it even more believable in my personal opinion. They ask him if he did that. And he says, obviously, that he didn't do it, right? We do not expect him to confess, to say that he did. He lies, and he says, or allegedly lies, and says that this didn't happen. But then he proceeds to add in this little extra bit of information that just drove it in for me even more, that this man did exactly what Gypsy said that he did. He says that at 4 years old, that Gypsy Rose used to touch him, or attempt to touch him. So instead of just saying that what she said wasn't true, he then turns around and basically tries to say a 4-year-old was him or attempting to. You know what this reminds me?
Bro, I'm with her on this one, okay? That was a huge red flag. Like, he didn't say, no, I would never do that. I love her. I would never do that. He didn't give your basic answer on how it should have been answered. No. He took it a step further and turned around and blamed her as a 4-year-old. If that wasn't a red flag, I don't know what to tell you.
It reminds me of Ruby Frankie and how she said that her son Russell was experiencing that he was at the hands of her and Jody Hildebrandt because he was his sister. It reminds me of that in a kind of a different way, but also sort of the same in the sense of trying to blame a child for something that children are not even going to think to do. If a child is doing something like that, they've absolutely had something done to them, because they're not going to just do that. That is someone who has been going through something extremely traumatic, even if what he said was true. Then they also tried to blame it on the mom, saying that they thought that the mom was basically planting things in her head and making her, do those things. I know that there are some things that she has been dishonest about, absolutely, but this is just something where I just don't feel like it's people's place to nitpick.
Amen. Oh my God, amen. Oh my God, Kayla, you were amazing on this.
I don't feel like this particular portion is a place where people should be trying to accuse her of lying in. There was something that was talked about in this docuseries that blew my mind. And the reason why it did was because I have been seeing so many people say that Gypsy was manipulated by this Nick guy to murder her mom, and that she wouldn't have done it had she not met him. Gypsy talks about in this docuseries about how she had actually attempted to shoot her mom before. She said that her mom had purchased a gun that she thought was a real gun, but it was actually a BB gun.
Okay. How do I put this? Can't blame her. I mean, I'm sorry. I listen, it's wrong. It's technically, I'm not even going to say morally wrong. It is against the law what she wanted to do when she attempted that. It is absolutely against the law. But I also look at it what she attempted to do as self-defense. I'm sorry. I'm not going to damn her for that. I'm not going to.
She had attempted to run away for the second time, and her mom ended up finding the bag that she packed before she even got out the door. So her mom confronts her about her trying to run away again. Gypsy grabs this gun that she thinks is a real gun and proceeds to shoot at her mom multiple times. When she does this, that's when she realizes that the gun that she just tried to shoot her mom with was a BB gun.
When I shot my mother, I just remember thinking like, oh my God, did I just do that? What did I just do?
So her mom is obviously fine, but she goes to the hospital for it, and she creates this fake story about how they were robbed by a man with a BB gun in a Walmart parking lot, and that he shot her. So she covers for Gypsy. So there is like a trail where we're able to track this story and see that it is true that her mom was shot by a BB gun. And so she says that when she pulled the trigger that she was shocked too, that she had even attempted to do this to her mom. And then her mom covered for Gypsy because obviously if she said what happened, like everything is gonna start to unravel that she's been, you know, manipulating and lying to people all over the world. But the thing about this...
Okay, wait a minute. So twice she tried to leave. Twice she tried to leave. So that right there breaks everybody's, one of the things they're trying to cancel for is like, why didn't she just leave? She tried to twice. What do you mean? Yeah, she felt like there was no escape. Absolutely.
This part of it to me is that it kind of it entirely destroys this idea that Gypsy was manipulated. She was not manipulated because on another occasion, which involved her trying to run away, she tried to kill her mom. This is something that leads me to believe this is deeply rooted in her. This is something that she is capable of doing. It made me question some things.
Guess what? That's, oh my God, Kayla! This is where Kayla drives me insane! When you are in a desperate situation, it is amazing what your mind and body can do. Like, we've heard of people in a desperate situation of saying their child was trapped under a car, and they literally lift that side of the car up to get their kid under there. That's a desperate situation. You've heard people doing what they got to do to get out of a desperate situation. FYI, that is rooted in everyone. It just depends on how far it will go before it comes out in people. It is human nature. I'm sorry. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes people get violence over protecting their own children. You do what you feel like you gotta do. Yeah, it's a survival instinct. It's actually rooted in everyone. It just depends on what limit you have to hit before you get to that point. And thank God, most people don't hit that point in which they felt like they would have to do something like that. But Gypsy was pushed to that point. I mean, what? Cat's pajamas, I think you're 100% correct. A lot of these people seem to not understand the deep levels of trauma and desperation she was in. Absolutely. They don't. They don't, and they don't care. They only care about their opinion. They don't know how to look beyond that. They don't have the ability to try to understand why somebody was in that state.
Things. You're gonna have to let me know what you think, because I know that there's people who are on both sides of it, and I think hearing from both sides are very interesting, even if you're in the middle about how you feel, which is where I am, in the sense of like, I'm in the middle in the sense that I feel terrible for her and what she went through. And I could understand to an extent how someone would feel trapped and maybe get to a breaking point. But there's a lot of other things about this case that just look like in my personal opinion, you have to be disturbed in some way, shape, or form to do this.
What kind of person? Okay, see, this is what, okay. How was Gypsy Rose supposed to come out of this situation and not be disturbed? Obviously, she's disturbed. Again, repeating myself yet again, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to say it in the video too. There is no way that Gypsy Rose was coming out of this situation like a normal human being. She will never be a normal human being because of that. Not babying her, not saying she doesn't have the ability to live a normal life, but to think that she is supposed to walk around and think like everyone else is absolutely ridiculous to me. She didn't have she hasn't had a normal life since the day she was born.
You know what I mean? Anyway, there's so much to say. That was the thing that just blew my mind. and changed some things for me. And I don't even think that when she was telling this story that she knew that it was going to be as big of a thing as it was. During the trial, they showed this video of Gypsy where she was filming a video to send to Nick, who was going to come and kill her mom, right? She was filming a video for him walking around the layout of the home. And the purpose of this video was to show Nick the layout so that when he got there that night and was going to kill her mom, that he knew exactly where to go in order to do it. But the part about this video that is extremely disturbing, and the part that everyone is talking about, is that when Gypsy gets to the bed to show where her mom would be laying, she motions like this. That is really dark to me.
I mean, yeah, it's dark, but I mean, wasn't that what they were talking about doing to her mom? I mean, you have to admit, she did talk Nick into doing it. Okay, we know that. I'm not saying that she didn't do that, but wasn't that what she was talking about for Nick to do? I mean, just for the simple fact that she was busting somebody in to do it and talked them into doing it, even had some gloves for him. I mean, obviously she's dark. Obviously she's disturbed. Obviously she's desperate.
Okay, now I get and I understand that if you're going through this trauma with your parent, that you could get to a dark place, and she obviously was. But there's just some parts in this to me that just leave me thinking, I'm like, you can't blame that on pain pills, because there's a lot where she says she's not blaming it on that, but there's a lot where she talks about the pain medication that she was on and kind of says that as if like that's probably why she did these things. But I mean, I've taken pain pills, like I've had surgeries and things where I've needed them, and I don't know what kind of pain pill you got to be on that makes you consider this type of extremely gory and disturbing murder. But I don't feel like that explains things like she kind of tries to. It doesn't.
You know what? Okay. All right. Do I think it's medication? No. I think it was for the simple fact that she was living an absolutely horrible life, and she wasn't living a life whatsoever. She wasn't living a life. She was literally being tortured every day. Every day she was being tortured. And every day she had to be up her captive's. She couldn't be around anybody else but her mother. And when she was around other people, she had to be with her mother.
Clarify anything for me. Yeah, maybe she wasn't in her right mind. But I feel like in order to shoot at your mom, correlate with someone else to murder her, and then to film this video where you're doing this, and for just this whole thing to play out the way that it did, you have to be disturbed in order to get to that.
And she confessed to getting him to do it. She confessed to it. She was like, yes. In her parole board meeting, they asked her, did you get Nick to do it? And she said yes. So why are we going on about that video?
That place. That's just my opinion. And I know some people are praising her, and, you know.
I'm going to be honest. I don't give a f- about what med she was on. Because it's not the med's fault of what she was doing. You know whose fault on who it was? You know whose fault it was for her to have the end goal that she had? It was her mother's. It was her mother's fault. That woman did nothing but make that girl suffer her whole life. If you won't blame anybody for what happened, it was her mother pushing her to the brink of feeling like that is the only way she was able to leave. Has nothing to do with the medication, except for the fact that her mother had her on a bunch of damn medications she didn't need to be on. She was actually perfectly healthy. That's the only thing about that medication that needs to be said. Her mother had her on a bunch of medications that she didn't need to be on. She was a perfectly healthy girl that had to tell the world she was sick. Good gracious. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
You know, Gypsy Rose stands and stuff like that, but I'm just like, it's too disturbing and f***ed up for me, to be completely honest with you, to stand someone who did something like that. The doctors that were in this docuseries that saw her were also talking about their experiences with Gypsy. And I found this to be very interesting because the doctors, both of them, tell a story that Gypsy says is not true.
My name is Bernardo Flasterstein. I'm a pediatric neurologist. She came with multiple medical conditions, but I got the result that we're all normal. And then I tried to have her move and stand her up, and lo and behold, she was able to stand up.
I don't recall that ever happening. I know for damn sure if I would have stood up in any office, I would have had my ass chewed out.
I had no clue what DFS was doing. I asked, anyone from the state come and visited you? And Dee Dee said, yeah. And I said, I want you to know that I was the one who called. So at this point, I said, Gypsy, is everything okay? I said, is there anything that you want to tell me? And she was like, no, everything's fine. My mom loves me, and I love my mom.
But I don't recall any of it. Am I lying? Or is it that they're just trying to cover their own ass?
So she says either the doctors are lying, or I completely forgot that those two things happened. I do think that it is a very real possibility that the doctors would tell a false story on how things went in order to cover their own butts, because it is their livelihood. You understand? This case is huge, and these doctors that were involved in the situation never knew that it would get to where it is today. And so if they're being questioned about why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you save this child? Or why did you subject this child to more medical treatment that she didn't need? They're gonna lie, because they're gonna lose everything, or could lose everything, for malpractice. There's so many problems with this. I don't expect them to not lie.
Okay, if you want to blame the medication on anything, it could have been simply that. But I don't see, but I think her mother I mean, it's a possibility the doctors were lying, but it's also a possibility she was on so much damn medication she could also not remember doing it too. That right there is what you can blame medication on. I mean, honestly, it honestly could be either way. It could be the doctors are telling the truth, and it could be that Gypsy doesn't remember. I mean, it could be, there's possibilities of everything.
Because their whole careers and lives are on the line, and their relationships with their family. Because if this was pursued legally, I do think that there's a real possibility that they could end up in prison and lose everything. She talks in this docu-series about her last moment with her mom. She says that they were sitting on the couch and they were watching a movie, and she said that Nick had told her that you should tell your mom that you love her tonight. So Gypsy looks over at her mom and she says, I love you. Her mom laughs and then says, I'm not dead yet. And that she thought it was so weird because in a few hours, 5 hours or something from there, she was going to end up dead. It was almost this like foreshadowing moment. And I just want to bring this up too. Y'all are going to have to let me know what you think. I feel like some people, like the stans of Gypsy Rose, are going to just be blasting me in the comments, but stay tuned to the end because I'll give you my full opinion at the end of this. So before you come at me, okay? Stay to the end because I got a lot to say, but there is this part where she's talking about the actual that took place, and she starts to cry. And I say cry because there were no tears. Her eyes watered up a little bit, but I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you. If I was going to sit here and try to fake cry, my eyes would get a little bit watery too, but I don't think a tear would fall, and I did not see any tears. It looked like someone that thought that they had to cry and they were trying to force themselves to, but it wasn't fully coming out. And I think this is really important to mention because she was raised by a master manipulator, and she was also a part of the frauding and the scamming. She was a part of it. Yes, she was manipulated by her mom, and yes, she felt she needed to do these things to please her mom. I believe she's a victim of Munchausen by proxy. I also believe that she had Stockholm syndrome. So with those things being said, I'm not blaming her for her part in what she did with her mom, okay? I think she was manipulated to do these things. There are things that this girl went through in that home with her mom that we just are not ever going to be able to understand, okay? But with that being said, you know, she was taught how to do this. And in these clips that you see...
Okay, true. She was taught how to do that. Again, Gypsy Rose is not normal. She is never going to be normal. She was taught how to manipulate people. She was forced to manipulate people. That's something that people don't understand. And then she went to prison. Guess what? You gotta do a little manipulating in prison too to kind of have an easy as possible prison life. Okay? Because prison life isn't normal either. You're literally in there with drug dealers and people who do R-wording and people who do scamming and every type of person you could think of is in a prison. So you have to do manipulation tactics there too, just to survive.
Of Gypsy, where she was in the wheelchair, she's very convincing. And so it wasn't just that her mom was convincing on her own. They both were a convincing pair. The two of them together is what created this whole story and made people believe it, because Gypsy was believable. And I'm not saying it was her fault. I'm not blaming her for it. I'm just saying that when I see certain clips like this where she's not really crying, I'm really trying really hard not to nitpick, and maybe I am nitpicking a little bit.
Nope, you are. You are. You absolutely are. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't blame Gypsy Rose for, if she is faking how she feels about her mother being not here anymore, I don't blame her. I don't blame her if she absolutely hates her mother and hates the memory of her mother and doesn't give two shits that her mother's not here anymore. I don't blame her if that's the case. And I don't blame her for playing the optics game. I don't blame her. I can't sit here and actually expect her to feel sorry for what she did. I can't do it.
But I'm watching it going, I'm not seeing any tears. And if my mom was in a horrific way like that and I loved her like I was claiming that I did, I would probably have some tears about it. Am I being unfair? Showed this clip of this medicine cabinet in her mom's house, and I found this to be shocking. Shocking in the sense of this is a lot of unnecessary medication. I mean, the things that she put Gypsy through is horrific. It is literally that of a horror movie. Like, forcing her to take medications that she didn't need, giving her medicine that caused her to drool so that the doctors would move her salivary glands. Did I say that right? Salivary?
I have a hard time with that word too. Yeah. How bad is that? How bad is that? Got rid of her salivary whatever glands because she was drooling because of the medication she was on.
Remove the glands that would make her drool. Totally ruined her teeth, causing her to have surgeries on her throat and her eyes, things she never needed a surgery for. I want to know, why have these doctors not been charged with something? Why?
I 1000% agree with her. I'm sorry. I want to know how the doctors did not realize, I mean, at least with some of it, somebody's got to be held accountable for something here. I 100% agree with Kayla with this one. 100%. She is not wrong at all. How come the doctors aren't being held accountable? I really want to know this. Excuse me, Mr. Doctor or Miss Doctor. How come you gave this girl eye surgery and yet nothing was wrong with her? Did you not know the medication she was on? Did you, like, what? Come on now.
That is the thing that I feel like is the most shocking to me. How are these people just getting...
No, Ivan, no doctors were held accountable. No, not one damn doctor was held accountable. Do I think they need to be held accountable? 100%. I mean, how is it they found out... All right, let's work through this. They found out she was perfectly healthy, that she didn't need any of that. Now, how is it a prison doctor can figure out she's absolutely healthy, but these other doctors couldn't tell that she was okay to not have, like the feeding tube, okay? Let's talk about the feeding tube. You mean to tell me the doctors couldn't tell that she was healthy enough to the point that she didn't need that feeding tube? What did they not check? One of the videos says said the mom used Katrina causing the loss of all her medical records. Yep, she did. That's true. So docs took mom's word for a lot of her medical history. You know what? She did walk around with a folder. This is crazy to me. Like, what's the whole point of... It makes me question, what is the whole point of blood work? And what's the whole point of, testing and stuff like that. But then you hear those 2 doctors who said that she was fine. Well, then, what's going on here? Because you still let her happen what happened to her. You know? It's just weird. Gypsy said she hasn't been able to find a lawyer yet to take her case to sue the doctors. No one will touch it. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. With chronic illnesses, a lot of the diagnosis process is from patient accounts of their symptoms. I don't know what ME is, so don't get on me. But I have ME and fibro, and blood tests don't pick those up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, apparently the mother was really good at what she did. You know what I mean? Apparently she was really good at what she did. So it could be that the doctors got tricked. Because you know what? Sometimes street smarts can outsmart book smarts. There is a difference between book smarts and street smarts. And maybe that's what it was. So that's true. You know. But still, I mean, there was a lot of malpractice done. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a shame that she went through all those surgeries and was on those medications for nothing. Yeah, mother used to be a nurse. See? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Then that makes sense then.
Away with it, performing a surgery on someone that didn't even need it, an underaged child at that didn't even need it, and the doctors that observed her for having muscular dystrophy, how did they not catch that she did not actually have that? Like, it is so it pisses me off that there are people that are sitting there saying that, oh, the mom was just so convincing. I'm sure she was, but when you're a doctor and you have someone come in there that you're supposed to take care of, don't you, like, actually check them and make sure that what these people are claiming they have, they actually do? Because I feel like there would have been a way for them to catch that she was actually able to walk. There is a video of her jumping in the snow, and you can see her move her leg.
Like, I mean, isn't there... Okay, wait. Isn't there a test to catch leukemia? Like, how else do you find out somebody has leukemia? Wouldn't it be in a blood test? And muscle... I mean, don't they have, like, tests for, like, muscular dystrophy? I mean, Kayla kind of has a point there. That's... I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
And nobody was questioning this. Yeah, the mom was messed up, okay? And she shouldn't be dead necessarily. I think she should be spending the rest of...
I'm going to keep my... No. Okay. How do I say this? Not get myself in trouble on YouTube? I'm not mad that my tax dollars aren't being spent to feed her and house her and clothe her. That's all I'm going to say on that one. That's all I'm going to say. I have no problem my tax dollars not going to that. Just saying.
Her life in prison, rotting in there. But nobody observed these videos and recognized that that is not muscular dystrophy. She can move her legs. Nobody questioned this. Part of this documentary that I just felt like, it seemed like it was kind of like a PR move. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I mean, obviously, it probably was a PR move. I mean, we live in the real world. It was probably a PR move. I'm not mad at it.
There is a lot in this docuseries about her husband and about her relationship with her husband, and it felt kind of like a distraction. And I felt that way about the stuff that's in the media right now about this too, is it comes off like it's something to distract from how horrific this case was. Because yeah, I do think it's interesting that she married her husband in there, and I definitely wanted to see clips of him speaking, because I just get bad vibes from any man that's gonna write someone who's in prison for conspiring to kill her mom.
Wait a minute, women do that all the time. You literally, who was the really good looking serial killer? Which one was it? The really good looking one that women, like, he didn't have fans. He had flat out stands of him. What's his name? What was his name? Oh my God, what was his name? The serial killer. He was good looking. Bundy. Yes, Bundy. Bundy had, are you kidding me? Women have done that for ages. Guess what? Men do it too.
I'm definitely going to catch some red flags with that. So I absolutely wanted to see him speak and kind of like catch a vibe from him. But with that being said, I think that there is a lot in this docuseries about their relationship, about their marriage, and kind of like fluff, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like things that just, I felt like it was distracting from the situation. Or like there's interviews that are currently out after she was released from prison where there are questions that I'm interested in hearing the answers to. They're not necessarily my business. She doesn't have to share anything she doesn't want to share. It's her life, her business. But I feel like it's more so about like her relationship with him, and I'm not that interested in that. Like a little bit interested, but not like, I don't want to just sit here and just hear her and her husband talk about their relationship. And I don't really care to watch them play the newlywed game. And I don't know, just something about it seems a little bit weird to me, if I'm being completely honest with you. They talk about how she had this previous relationship with this other guy named Kim that she really liked. And I guess he broke up with her. The media and all of that and all of her notoriety for what she did to her mom was too much for him, and so he opted out. But I guess they continued to talk, and she said something about how he chose this blonde bimbo or something is how she chose to describe her. And so she ends up, it's one of those situations where the guy that she really wanted to be with didn't want to be with her and chose somebody else, so she ends up getting with Ryan. The Ryan guy that she married, it came off like she's kind of using him. Y'all are gonna have to let me know what you think. I do think that Gypsy...
Kayla, you're doing so well with this video. Like, how is she? I mean, she might be. I don't know.
Is a hopeless romantic, and I do think that she wants to find love, but I do also think that she doesn't really know how to live on her own and be independent. And I'm not judging her for that necessarily. Like, she went through a lot. She's not...
And you know what? Normal people do that all the time. Normal people do that all the time. The husband is weird. Watch the doc. Major red flags. I'm going to be honest. I don't care about the husband. That's her choice in a man. If he's not a her, I ain't worried about it. I'm sorry. I'm not nitpicking her relationship. I refuse to nitpick her relationship. I refuse to do it. And you know what, Pickle? If she leaves the husband, guess what? Normal people do it all the time. Not you, Pickle, but you motherfuckers want her to be normal so bad. But yet, if she ends up doing normal things, you're going to try to cancel her for it.
Come out of prison, I could see how it'd be really scary to come out and feel like you don't have anybody that you can rely on. But one thing we've seen with this whole case is that this girl truly, truly wanted to find love. She wanted to find a knight in shining armor, a Prince Charming, someone to rescue her and save her. And I do feel like she's still there. I don't feel like she's fully healed from that. And I think that maybe she has some ulterior motives for marrying who she did. Now, this is just my opinion based on what we've seen in interviews. Her cheating on him, or wanting to get an annulment. There's just some things about it that it kind of came off like a red flag with her, not necessarily him, which I would have thought I would have felt more of a red flag with him wanting to reach out to her while she's in prison. But I really felt that way with her, where I was like, what are you doing? I mean, they talk in this documentary about how she can be really mean and say really nasty things, and she does admit to it, and she does admit that it's wrong. But
Okay. If anybody is going to cancel Gypsy Rose for being a bitch, then I am really in trouble. I mean, yeah, K-Buns, you're absolutely correct. The woman basically grew up in a woman's prison. Of course she is.
You know, I have also seen in interviews she's talking about how she is getting therapy, and that is a good thing because I do think that she needs it and will probably need it for the rest of her life. And I do not...
100%. 100%. She absolutely needs therapy, and I'm so glad that she is in therapy because, and I feel like it will probably be needed lifelong for her because she's been through some. So that is absolutely a good thing. 100%.
I mean that offensively. Most of us, if not all of us, could use therapy. I just feel like that there's definitely some things she hasn't fully worked through. I mean, her family in the docu-series also expressed their concerns for her getting into a relationship like this. And some people who are working on the docu-series also expressed their concerns with it. And, you know, I do think that it's fair to congratulate her and to want the best for her and to want her to be happy. But I also think it's fair, like, as someone who is on the outside, to kind of observe the situation and be like, is this really what is best? I feel like there's going to be some drama that unfolds with this marriage.
There That's normal. Oh God. I hate this so much. I mean, listen, this is what happens when you get in the spotlight. Once you get in the spotlight, people nitpick at you. Okay? Her case was so crazy and so like national news and stuff like that. It makes sense why she's in the spotlight. All right? I don't blame her for writing a book and selling her book. If she's in the spotlight, she might as well make money for it. I don't have a problem with her doing that. What is she going to do? What life skills has she learned throughout her life? Not very many. So, I mean, unfortunately, this is what happens the more people get to know who you are.
And they've been so public about it that it's going to be, if I'm right, it's going to be, it's going to be a lot, and it's going to be messy if that does happen. I mean, that D is fire, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Hey, yo, I'll be here. I'll be here to tell y'all what's happening.
Now, here is my full opinion after watching the entire docuseries, okay? Because you may be thinking that I'm just full-on anti-Gypsy,
No.
and that I don't like her, and that I think she's an evil.
I don't think that at all. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Kayla hates her. No, I don't. I just think, honestly, you know what this case boils down to? I think different people from different walks of life are going to look at Gypsy Rose and the Gypsy Rose case completely different. I really do. I think people who have never been in an abusive relationship will probably look at it one way. People who have been in situations will probably look at it another. You know, you have people who are pacifists who don't believe in like the death penalty and stuff like that. They're going to look at it one way. Whereas people who absolutely believe in something like that are going to, honestly, I think the whole thing with this whole Gypsy Rose thing is it depends on your personal morals, values, how you treat life is how you look at this case. And honestly, maybe none of us have it right because life is complicated. Life is not simple. And I think people try to overcomplicate it too much. Just let people live. It's just crazy. But I don't think she hates her. I don't think she hates her at all. She doesn't have a hateful tone to her.
Master manipulator based on the things that I said here. And my next video that I'm doing about this may give you a little bit more clarity on where I personally stand. But I feel like there are the Gypsy Rose stans and then the Gypsy Rose haters.
Yes.
I feel like I'm neither. And I feel like sometimes there is a place in the middle. And I'm in the middle in the sense of, I think that what this poor girl went through with her mom is one of the most horrific stories I have ever heard.
True.
It's traumatic. It's so hard to understand or comprehend as a mother. I love my son more than anything on this planet, and I cannot imagine someone wanting to harm their child, wanting to, my son was in the NICU when he was born, and he was only in there for 6 days, but it was the 6 longest days of my life, seeing him hooked up to machines and wires attached to his body.
He got out though, that's all that matters.
And on an oxygen going into his nose because he couldn't breathe fully on his own. It was traumatic. And I wanted nothing more for him to be out of there and to be healthy and to just be able to go home with my baby. I cannot comprehend as a mother someone wanting their child to be hooked up to machines like that and to go through that traumatic medical treatment for nothing. That is sad. The things that Gypsy went through with her mom, the things that her mom put her through, the trauma that she experienced growing up with her mom, I cannot even comprehend it. And I feel so terrible that she had a mom like that.
Yep.
And I think that the mom that she had and the way that she was raised, she's going to have trouble for the rest of her life because of that. That trauma doesn't just go away. There's no amount of therapy that you can have that's going to make that better, that's going to make that go away. Gypsy has to live with the way that she was raised and what ended up happening to her mom, by choice or not, for the rest of her life. We get to go on with our lives and not think about this, close this book when we want to, not, move on to a different story. This is her story forever, okay?
Yeah.
And that is enough punishment, enough in my personal opinion. I feel terrible that she went through things like this and that she felt that she had no other choice. I do believe she felt that she had no other choice. I do believe that. I don't believe everything that Gypsy has said. She's lied a lot. She's admitted to lying. She admitted in one interview that she didn't even tell her attorneys everything. I think that you would have to be not the smartest cookie in the cookie jar if you believed everything that Gypsy said. I do think that she has manipulative tendencies. She learned from her mom. I think that she has a lot of things.
I think manipulation comes natural to her. I mean, look how she grew up. No, I think Kayla's take is pretty solid. I mean, I'm the same way. I feel like I'm in the middle. Like, okay, when they were talking about Gypsy Rose getting out and they were doing all the memes, I was liking the memes because I thought the memes were funny, right? But then when she got out, it was like, okay, now this is starting to get creepy. People are starting to get creepy. Like, can the girl go buy a pair of shoes without y'all up her ass? Is it possible? Come on now. And then you have people who want to be the contrarians and be the haters, right? I'm with her. I'm in the middle. Because quite honestly, if she goes off and doesn't, I don't care whether she's selling a book. I don't care if she goes around on different podcasts and different talk shows. I don't care. I don't care that she's married to that dude. I don't care if they end up getting a divorce. I don't care. I don't care that much. I wish her nothing but a happy life, and maybe eventually one day that happy life doesn't include him. I don't care as long as she's happy. I'm like that with anybody. You gotta do what you gotta do to be happy. Grave, that's actually a really good point. I feel like she lies because she feels, I feel like she lies because she feels like she has to lie about some things to protect herself. Probably so. That's what she was taught growing up. You lie to protect me, as in her mother. Her mother taught her, you lie to protect me and yourself because I don't want them separating us. Yeah. Absolutely.
Things that she has to unlearn, unprogram. And I don't think that she's just this perfect person who's never going to make mistakes. She went through a lot and made some really, really dark and disturbing decisions, things I can't even comprehend. And I do feel like in order for you to plot the murder of your mom, whether you actually actively did it or not, regardless of what your parents doing to you, you got to have some darkness in there. But I also don't know how much of that is her fault, because if you're going to...
Okay, let's talk about that darkness in there. FYI, everybody's got a little bit of darkness. Everybody's got a little bit of darkness. It just depends on how you can suppress it. And then it also depends on what kind of situation you get put into, on whether that darkness comes out or not. Everybody has a darkness, everybody. And I truly believe that. Which no, I can't say I believe everybody has good in them. Because I truly believe there are people who have no good in them.
Raise your child the way her mom raised her, of course they're going to have something dark in them.
Yeah,
I don't think we have to
absolutely.
worry about Gypsy doing something like this to someone else. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think in the
I don't think
comments
she's
down
gonna
below.
reoffend.
What do you think about this? What do you think about...
I will be highly surprised if she ever reoffends. To be very honest with you, I don't think she's going to reoffend. However, we don't know because life has a weird way of doing things, but I don't think she's going to reoffend. I really don't.